Yes,
So
you're
the
right.
first record is sit there, the first 10 days, or 8 days, or whatever. I think it's 70.
Yes. I feel that.
Yeah, I think we're going out on Saturday.
We got some money to replace that one, that was 75.
Yeah.
All right, 7 o'clock, call the Thursday meeting to order. First up, Chief, time for budget.
In front of you, you should have the line items, which includes the 2022 budget, where we currently stand as of the pay period end of October, and then obviously what's being proposed for 2023. Major increases, obviously salary, government salary. 13.9% of that is an increase from salaries that we added in the 2022 year, which is lieutenant police and officer trainer. At the time, we had those 2 vacancies, well, at least 1 vacancy when I was here, the lieutenant position filled April 1st, due to the kind of law enforcement and salary that we currently had. The lieutenant's position, I went in front of the board and, recommended a salary which was higher than what was proposed in the 2022 budget, just so, for recruitment and retaining purposes. So 13.9% of that 110 is basically what we took on in 2022, and with the conservative spending that we had in the budget, the staffing issues that we had in the first quarter of 2022 was able. That's how we were able to get through the 2022 year so far with taking on that salary, but we knew there was going to be an increase in 2023. Other line items, obviously, health insurance is up because of a couple of things, 11.7% increase through health trust, as well as losing a full-time officer on a single plan. We added officer trainer, which is a 2-person plan, so that's an increase in that, which is out of control. Retirement, that is going up just because salaries are going up. It's like a percentage, which is 33.8%. We're looking to add a little bit to the support line item, which is 117. We did a salary survey which shows our current administrative assistant is behind double digits, so we're proposing to bring that up 15%, which is going to be, we're obviously in the process of hiring somebody once this will be at the end of January. So we're hoping with that added salary, we're going to be able to recruit a little bit better than we will be with the current salary is. Part of that salary survey, we also found that Sergeant Valley's salary is 31% behind local officers in his position and similar to his experience. So we're looking to project. That's another reason why 110 is up a little bit as well, as we're trying to bring him up. Obviously, we know, we grabbed 2 lateral officers last year from a department. Other departments are doing the same thing, or trying to do the same thing to us. So what I don't want to do is all the work that we've done in the last year is just to allow other departments to coach our officers and offer them more money and better benefits and sign bonuses and stuff like that. So I think it's important that we just try to stay competitive, and I think that's one of the reasons why that line item went up this year as well. Fuel, that's up a little bit, just something that we can't control. Dispatch fees went up, by contract with Newmarket. It goes up by the CPI. They quoted me a 7% increase of what the current CPI is. So that's the added on that. The addition on other professional services, that is our IT, which is going up, our software, which is going up, and a new 2020 through 23 through the police standards training is for New Hampshire accreditation, which is one of the recommendations by the Governor's Leader Commission, which is going to take effect in 2023, which is going to require us to pay a fee for them to come down and evaluate us as as well as some software that we have to subscribe to. So that is the difference. That's why that line item was higher than it was last year. Highway safety grants down the bottom, that is something that we have not had in the past. Part of the budget, that is 100% reimbursed by the New Hampshire Highway Safety Agency. It's reimbursed on a quarterly basis. Starts October 1st. The grants that we receive October 1st of 2022. It ends September 30th, 2023. So since we weren't budgeted in 2022, any grants that we do between October 1st of this year and end of December will be taken out of the 2022 budget. Anything else that is left, from January 1st to end of September 23 will be taken out of that line item. So that's the increase of the $6,600 in the budget. That's about it. Is there any other questions?
So I have a question. So you did the salary study, and are you now increasing everybody's pay so they're at, or are you kind of thinking incremental to catch them up? Or are you...
The numbers that we received, unfortunately, not all departments responded. The numbers, the survey was sent out early last year, so early 22. So it doesn't, a lot of departments have union contracts as well as town budget. Some of them go July 1st, some of them go after town meeting like we do. These numbers aren't completely accurate, so the answer is no. We're only bringing up 2 positions, which is Lisa's position, who's going to be a vacancy in January, and Kevin, who's been here for 11 years. With the current climate, we would like to look at another survey next year to see what other towns and other departments are doing and adjust accordingly this year, depending on how things go.
So your new hires that we did this year, they are closer to where they need
Not necessarily. The lieutenant's position is off quite a bit. Officer trainers will be close to the norm. But the 2 positions with Lisa is important because we're hiring. We want to be able to do everything in our power to help ourselves recruit the right person, the right fit, the right position. And obviously, Sergeant Valley with 31%, that is something that is just way out of whack this year. We did a little bit about it, but next year I think we should look at that again, just because, like I said, other departments are coaching on who we have.
Yeah.
That's what they're doing. Every department around here is short-handed. They try to take certified officers. That's exactly what we did last year.
We're not immune from it.
No, we're not immune, but they try to get it.
So how many full-time and part-time then under the current structure? 4?
4 full-time,
Full-times?
5 part-time.
And without the salary increases, assuming that we would, I shouldn't say without salary increases. If we were gonna basically do a budget that's at a lower level, I mean, obviously most of the other stuff, uniforms, postage, even gasoline is, you're gonna pay what you're gonna pay. If there was going to be a cut, my guess is you're gonna lose an officer. If we said, you know what, you can have this budget minus 30,000, we're talking a difference of being an officer.
It would be an officer which would take away from the
Okay.
services that we provide at the time.
Okay. Just want to understand where the touch points are. Hobie?
On that 391 of the professional services,
Yes.
bump to 3550. So the state, the way they get around this, said so it's not an unfunded mandate. What they're telling you is we're going to charge you to come down and do an assessment of your status.
There's supposed to be a meeting sometime, it's a Chiefs meeting Thursday. I'm going to find out more information regarding that. There was talk about maybe some grants out there regarding that, but nothing's set in stone. The preliminary, 1 or 2 Chiefs meetings ago, they mentioned that it was probably going to be a $1,500 service. The state charges between $800 and $1,000, and then there's going to be a fee of $500 or $600, which is to a software company called Power TMS, which is going to be a good service. It's a substantially discounted price compared to what departments are paying now, where they keep all their standard operating procedures online. It's something that we looked at, but they want $4,000 or $5,000 for it. So going with the state accreditation, police doing some training, trying to work out with Power DMS, so they offer their services at a substantial discount to the departments who partake in the accreditation process.
Okay. On the sergeant position, when's the last time that position was at a substantial pay raise? Has it been a while?
I can't speak for prior to me being here. Last year was a 5% increase. I was part of the budget process for a brief time last year. I think I decided on a Monday, the budget had been presented on a Tuesday. I did take some time with Lieutenant O'Brien at that time. Had since left the department, went to Stratford County. So I had a little breakdown of what the salaries were, but at that point I didn't have enough time to do a salary survey. It's my understanding that COLAs or cost or steps were given out, but different steps depending on employee evaluation. And where I was and where I stood last year was I was here for one day, I couldn't dish out different percentages for officers without doing an evaluation.
So would your assessment be that that position, that officer is in jeopardy if we don't do something substantial?
That position?
Yeah.
That is one position that's being posted.
Give me a little knowledge on your detail and how that's working for cruisers and save us money on that.
Detail revenue account, we charge an administration fee and a cruiser fee to the vendors. The officers get a set fee. Any revenue that comes in from that goes into the detail revenue account. Per how that account's set up, previously from me taking over, is to be used for cruises. And to expend out of that account has to be approved by the governing board. So far this year, with my hires, the officer putting details, we billed out in excess of $300,000 in details.
You build out?
We billed out over 300, so we saw some vendors that owe us some money, but we should have between $70,000 and $90,000 in that budget. Probably once everyone pays by the first of the year, and that can be used for purchasing cruisers in the future where a warrant article would not need to be done to allocate money for a police cruiser.
Okay. And on your maintenance on your vehicles, are they all under warranties or extended warranties?
A new car, I purchased a new extended warranty. I should get out of our budget. It's about $2,500, 5-year, $100,000 warranty. The 2015 is not. That's our little car. That is not on warranty. Two other cars, they have a 5-year 60, but only for powertrain. It's not bumper to bumper.
Okay.
Bumper to bumper is 3 to 36. It doesn't look like past administrations purchased the 5-year 100,000 warranty.
And that's the bumper to bumper.
Yeah, it's a 5-year.
Wait, except for the white person's school.
We've had some things like in the last couple drive shafts, front axles. They had some issues with them. 2020. So
You got a transmission issue on one?
transmission. Well, they told us there's nothing wrong with that transmission, but we actually had them put it right in. There's nothing wrong with it. So that car is 5-year 60. So if something happened, that car is going to go 45,000 miles on it. But the 2020 is the first around the board that all agencies are having issues with the transmissions.
Okay, so what I'm getting at here, Wayne, is just to make sure that we have a buffer to protect us from unforeseen expenses that they've been hard in your
When it
budget.
comes to cruises, yeah, that line item can be used for vehicle repairs, even fuel. I mean, how you read into that warrant article, I mean, that line item, it's for cruises. Let's say you have to buy cruises, it could be for equipment, it could be for unforeseen costs. If for some reason we go over our budget for $4,000, that's one of the reasons I didn't raise that line item, because we do have that buffer line.
I'm good.
Instead of 60 was for your police, 3,053 for the your remote radios.
Yes,
What do you guys pay for the space rental?
about $500 to $600 from last year. I don't know if it's
Total or for the,
total.
or for the year? Okay. So most of that is just the other stuff, firearms? and-
Ammunition's about a couple $1,000 depending on price. The radio lease is a little over $3,000. That was a lease that previous administration agreed to.
Yep.
I believe we're in year 3, I believe. So 6,000 of that 10,000 is already accounted for it's spent, just with the space station, ammunition, and as well as,
Motorola.
radios and radios for Motorola.
Okay.
Thank you. One more question for you. So dispatch, we've got a bump of, what, 15 to 16, basically 1,000, and that's coming straight from.
7% with a 3-year contract, the CPI at 3. In the contract that was reached prior to me taking over, yearly increases go by the CPI. So I reached out to the chief of market, he dealt with his town manager, and governing body, they returned with that number.
And there's, in your professional opinion, is that they're the better option as far as dispatch?
Is there better options?
No, that is a better option as opposed to going to sheriff's department.
In my opinion, by far, it's the best option.
Okay. And they're cheaper, the sheriff's department is cheaper?
Sheriff's Department is cheaper, but the
Quality
quality.
services what counts?
Yeah, it's county tax, but quality services, what we're getting with the fire department, with the dispatching, the ambulance service, it makes sense. What we're receiving on both ends, the quality of service and the professionalism, in my opinion, it's what we're the most.
Other questions?
I just have a statement. We did use Rockingham.
Yeah, we dropped dispatch
Yeah.
for, what, 3 years?
Yeah, exactly, yeah. So just, so you know.
We've gone down the road.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think given, and certainly everything that, in my discussion not only with you guys, but but with other towns, the quality of service deteriorated quite rapidly, especially when they were having a hard time finding bodies
Right.
to make dispatch.
From the solar.
Yeah.
Yeah, Newmarket is nice, especially, for the fire and police. It's, because we work hand in hand with those guys over there.
Right.
To be on the same channel, it's nice.
All right, any other questions? No? All right. Thanks, Chief, appreciate it. Tell you what, you're up next.
Got a few changes. The big ones, just 2 of them that have gone up. Up to plowing and sand equipment. I would like to go up 10 grand. Diesel fuel's $2.50 more a gallon than it was last year at this time.
Diesel's $2.50 a gallon?
No,
I'm
more.
kidding.
Almost $6 right now. So
Crazy.
last year it was $3.10 or something, so it was, but they did put in for more for plowing and the equipment.
How much salt cost this year, by the way?
Salt went up $10 a ton, but I'm just gonna try to make that up using less.
Make it up in volume?
Yeah, I'm gonna try to see what we can do without. And the other thing I went up on was paving. And the pure simple fact is paving's gone way up. We were supposed to be on a schedule of a mile a year. We're doing about 3,000 to 3,500. And in the next 5 years, we've got all of Deer Trees, which is 2 miles of road. We've got Parkland Chill, which is we've got Scanlon, and all the roads that the developers did in the 90s.
Are coming
up. And we've talked about it in the past, getting our paving budget up. Bald Hill Road is next year, and that's 4,400 feet of road.
When's Summer Pleasant?
Well, Summer Pleasant, we're hoping to fit in when we
Do the grant.
with the grant.
Okay.
So,
Yep.
I'm waiting to just see what that,
Timing is.
It won't be next year, I don't think, by the time we do the engineering and everything back.
Okay.
We should check on when the funding can be spent then. It's not gonna be done next year.
Well, we haven't got that funding yet.
Yeah, it hasn't come in yet. I think it comes in supposedly next year. Off the top of my head, I want to say we have to have engineering plans into them, but I think we have till 2025 to get it done. But we'll double check.
I haven't Bill Meserve.
I know, Bill's on top of that.
And I know he's on top of it.
Yeah.
But I personally don't think it'll be this coming year, I think. That's why I'm planning, now that we've done Sanborn Drive and the end of Baldale, I just figured we'd
Finish Baldale.
finish that neighborhood up there.
And that would go from basically the intersection up to the town border.
Town line.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know the town size of Kensington, they have their $300,000 budget, then they do a $200,000 paving warrant every year. So I don't know if that's something, I like having it in the budget, but obviously if it's in a warrant, it gives the town the option to,
Decide not to pave.
yeah, and that's the thing.
Yeah.
And with me,
Well,
I pay taxes here in town too, so I'm not, I'm not here to spend a ton of money, I'm just trying to get us to where I think we should be. We really need to be doing approximately a mile of road a year, so that hits every road every 15 years, and any,
Yeah.
And we haven't been doing that for 3 or 4 years now.
We've been coming up short,
Yeah.
about what, half a mile or so?
Yeah, we're usually 3,000 or better, depending on reclaiming's always a lot more. We don't have, we haven't been doing a lot of the top, because a lot of the older roads doesn't do any good. We've got old Lee roads coming up, there's a mile of road there, but we won't do that till that new development's done.
Right.
So that's.
And then you reclaim the whole thing and
And
pave.
that's 3 years
top
down
cover.
the road, so you still, you still got, in
Well-
the next 3 to 5 years, you've got, deer trees and Hayden and Bassett, Finn Ave, Scanlon, Heath, Partridge, all the newer ones that were done in the 90s that we haven't touched. They're all coming up, and a lot of it is maintenance, it's either top coat, and if we don't do the maintenance, then we gotta get into the reclaim.
Yeah.
So, that's why I'm up, to 380 from 330, and I put it on your shoulders.
So we could drop you to 190, but then do it more?
So that one, somebody says, how come we're not paying? It is so.
No, the problem, I think what you're saying here is that we are paving, the problem is we're just getting, we're getting fewer feet every year.
Well, I mean, pavement's gone up like that 30% in the past 5 years.
Isn't your budget 430,000 with the additional, you have 380 here, but you added 50.
No, it was 330 last year, so it's 380.
Okay, so,
It's 380 for the next year.
okay, I was confused by the handwritten stuff, I thought
Oh,
that
yeah,
was
that's just what,
additional.
the handwritten stuff is just what.
So the changes?
It's the changes on that line. So we're at 380, last year we were at 330.
Okay.
And last year we went up only because of salt,
Right, that was a
Salt
big
went
issue
up
last year.
$20 and something a ton or something. So we went up 6,000. Other than that,
Would you prefer we warn article to pave?
no.
Okay.
It doesn't matter to me, I guess it's whatever you guys think is the best.
There's no good answer.
There isn't, and a lot of people, I just think with warrant articles, especially if it's a big number, a lot of people just say no, because and everybody knows this next year or two, our taxes are gonna go up, just to know, nothing we, it's just the economy, and so this is the wrong time. But for the past 5 years, it's been the wrong time.
Look,
We were talking about a fire, addition at the fire station, so we said, let's hold off.
Yeah.
And so we kept saying, well, I just, at some point, we're gonna have to, and it's just gonna be bigger numbers.
You don't want to be in the position of the water village right now.
It's, yeah.
10 years of deferred maintenance on the systems and we're paying for it.
I mean, yeah, I mean, you know, everybody wants to know when their road's gonna get paved, but when it comes over time.
No, and I appreciate the concern you have. At the end of the day, you know, we're responsible for recommending a budget, and I tend to agree, stuff like this, which is regular maintenance, I mean, this isn't a one-off type thing, this is an annual thing. I tend to think that it belongs in the operating budget, and yeah, it has an impact on taxes, and, you know, it's kind of an all or nothing when you go to the bottom line, but
I mean,
if somebody's really adamant about it, they can come in deliberative session and take out the paving and propose a warrant article, but I think this is the way we should do
we're
it.
pretty fortunate for the past 10 years, we've gotten by with, you know, but like I said, now you've got all those developments that were done from the early 90s, that we've done nothing to. And
Well, it would have been easier if asphalt didn't go up so fast.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, that's what we had planned when we did a
Yep.
pavement thing back in the early 2000s.
Yeah.
A mile of road, you know, we tried to get it for a mile of road, a mile a year. And, yeah, we're just not getting it.
How do you decide how much sand and salt to buy?
Just from previous years.
Because like did you go through everything last year? It was a milder winter.
I mean, it wasn't really a mild winter, it was a snowfall, but we had a lot of ice. We had more storms with 2 inches, 24 hours of freezing rain and
That's
ice.
true, yeah.
And realistically, 15 inches of snow would be cheaper to push than 2 inches of ice.
I was just curious how you,
Yeah,
Come up with-
we've been for the past few years right around 450 ton.
okay.
So we can't store it, we can only store like 3 loads at a time. So.
And you said what cycle through from Portsmouth?
Yeah, it comes from Portsmouth. Well, it's a state bid,
Yeah.
so it's either Portsmouth or Newington or whatever this state is. They offer it to the towns.
Other questions?
By increasing the paving as much as you did, do you think that gets us more toward a sustainable amount going forward? Like,
Yeah.
because it's coming up so much in the future, it might not be as much of a increase in the paving, or is that mostly driven by?
It's driven by your oil. It's driven by the diesel. The oil is, that's what paving is. You know, it's bulk oil. And so when the oil prices are up, you pay, you know, and realistically, once it goes up, it doesn't come down. So, as much as we want it to. I mean, I've seen it used to be $30 a ton to put it
For asphalt?
for asphalt. Now it's at like 85.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, it's unfortunately, and it's not as good as it used to be either. It's cheap.
Quality wise?
Yeah, quality, it doesn't last that long. The roads don't hold up, because they got more, they call it wrap, and it's reclaimed asphalt that they put in to make the asphalt now. So,
It's lower
Less
quality
oil,
than the
less-
aggregate, than
less
the
oil.
oils.
Yeah,
Less oil. Yeah. Okay.
But more expensive.
but more expensive.
Brian, is there a depth dish matter that can control the cost of it? And what's the lowest depth you can land? I mean,
The lowest depth.
yeah, outfit can,
Well, you can do like the state does, and they put like an eighth of an inch. and
what's
lasts
good for 6
like
months?
lasts like 3 years, 5 years.
So what do you usually put down for depth when you?
Well, when we reclaim, well, like if we grind a road, we'll do 2.5 inch of binder. If we if we just go and put a surface top coat, we try to do like 1 1/8 inch. Anything that go less, it's just,
Neighborhoods have held up pretty well.
yeah, yeah,
I mean, the deer trees,
the new ones, yeah.
oh, the new one, yeah, been since the 90s. I mean, for the most part, those roads are, and you guys redid Hemlock, right, and Meadow.
We've done hemlock, meadow,
Right. It's gonna be partridge, deer trees.
yeah, they've done Oaklands in the back, I mean,
Okay.
a lot of them. It's coming on,
Okay.
some of these newer ones. roads and Old Lee Road.
Yeah, Old Lee's gonna be a.
You know, once we get Baldwin later on. The problem with Baldwin Road and Oakland's, you know, some of the older roads, those are the original, they're the oldest roads in town. They've never been built
To state standard.
like the newer roads in the past 30 years. Those are just old cow paths that over, they had a mud hole, they dig it out, they put a little gravel in there and go along. Then they grade it, you know, but there's no foot of gravel, 6 inches of crush, there's no. So that's why they all heave differently.
Right.
You know. So those are the ones that, you know, some towns, when they have the budgets, they dig them right out.
And just
They
basically build a new
They
road.
build them like the new roads are, you know.
Yeah.
But they spend, you know, hundreds of thousands of dollars. We don't have that, so.
Can I ask you a question about paint?
About what?
The paint that you guys use, have you noticed a reduction in quality in it?
In the, like the
Like
road?
the marking
road
paint?
marking paint?
Yeah.
Well, there's different types, like if you're looking at the state roads, like they'll do, it's a plastic actually, like stop bars and arrows and stuff, it's like they melt plastic and they, on the state roads, we just do, it's, I don't even know what type, it's just a paint with, we throw the reflective stuff in it, and, but everything's not as good as it used to be, because they don't let you use the right materials.
I'm gonna call the state and complain about the paint marks further down on 87, because we were driving up the other night when it was raining, and you couldn't see,
Well, the
you
reflective.
couldn't
The
see any of the
reflective,
yeah.
paint.
And
If they usually spray it, then they sprinkle it, they have a machine that puts the
reflective stuff on it, yeah.
Yeah, as they do it.
So I wasn't
And
sure.
it's also, correct me if I'm wrong, but it's also, depending upon how they do their top coat, impacts the sheen and the way the water flows.
Could be.
Yeah.
But I know some of it, like the arrows and the stop bars on the highways, that's all like thermal plastic.
Yeah.
They have to, usually they grind that off, and because the pavement, once they over, they won't stick to it, so they have to grind it all off, but that stuff is. But the paint is, yeah, it's supposed to be put in reflective.
No, it's like it.
No, and I use those side markings because I have poor vision at night, and it was not
Little
safe.
tenuous.
Because then the middle lines weren't reflective either.
All right. Thank you, Brian. Appreciate it. And we'll roll right into emergency management.
All good news.
There's nothing in this here. Yeah, that's the right answer. No bad.
So after looking this over, talking a little bit with Tom, you know, this, you definitely don't need an increase. And I was gonna say, so this permanent salary, the stipend, that's for the Seabrooks, we actually get reimbursed for that. So I'm not quite sure what happens to that. Does that go back into the general fund? How does that work?
Well, Seabrook money is a little different because there are restrictions on what Seabrook money can be used for. So typically that, while it is, let's say, going into the general fund, it's restricted money
Okay.
as opposed to unrestricted money that might go back to the general fund.
Okay, all right, yeah. So anyway, but that's, were you looking at permanent salary and stipend? That was for our 2 drills that we did this year, one in February, one in April. But we got reimbursed 100% for those. The only thing I could, the telephone internet on here, we have a budget of $5,000, which I think is probably a little too high. We don't have phones anymore. We're just basically paying for internet, and we have 1 VoIP phone. So, I mean, technically, we could probably drop that to 2,500.
Okay. Good to know.
And obviously, the gopher money will be, gotta be reimbursed, correct? It'll come back.
Yeah, go, if it's Gopher, yeah.
Yeah.
Michael, I don't think that's Gopher.
Is that Gopher or
That's
ARPA?
the locality
locality.
That's a locality.
Locality, that was our, yeah.
So it's not really Gopher, it's ARPA money, right? That's an ARPA directed funds that were utilized for
Well,
the locality grant.
locality
offset.
grant, yeah, the locality. It was the matching grant.
Yes.
You know, we kicked in 5,000.
Yeah.
We got 50,000.
Yeah, it's a 10 to 1,
Yeah,
9 to 1, 10 to 1 match. Yep.
Yeah, so,
Yeah, and that was ARPA.
yeah,
That was ARPA.
yeah. So I know these guys, you're getting that money back for the sign boards, right? The portable sign boards.
Yeah, it's gonna submit to the received.
Okay, yeah. Did you get your computer chip? Those?
We have everything from that locality.
Okay.
I'll leave it.
Yeah, all right.
Maintenance, repair, machinery, and equipment, that's in anticipation of what you may need, I take it?
Yeah, but again, you know, some of that, the Seabrook funds, which I think we have a little over $30,000 worth of funds in there.
In the restricted pool?
I talked to Paul, and we can pretty much use that for anything we want, okay? You know, so what I was gonna say is that matching $5,000, we should probably pull it out of the Seabrook rep fund. It's okay to use that,
Okay.
you know? I know we're talking about getting some new batteries for radios. I don't know if you guys need any, but we'll probably pull it out of, you know.
The restricted monies?
Yeah,
I mean, anything that you can use legitimately, right, with that restricted money, because we nickel and dime stuff out of it because there are no large equipment demands that really comply under the Seabrook money.
right, yeah.
And so, yes, I would encourage you, if there's something there that you think, yeah, we could really use this, it's $2,000. Absolutely, the first pool I would look to is the Seabrook, as long as it complies with
Yep.
the terms of the Seabrook money. You know,
Right.
we can't spend that on pens, right, or, you know, hats or heating oil, that's.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's the right attitude to take in terms of looking how to fund any of this. And again, if you can do that on the equipment or repairs, which I'm
Well, the
going to
good
go
news,
back on both,
the
but
good news, we don't have trucks, we don't have cars. So, you know, we don't have gas expenses or diesel expenses, so. And, you know, we get that $8,000 every year by just.
participate.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. It's kind of easy money.
Light lift.
It's nice to have.
Yes. Yep. No, I agree.
You
It's
know,
nice to sock away for the
Yeah.
rainy day.
And I know you guys got a new radio for the cruiser out of those funds, and, you know, at some point we'll need, you know, like I said, we need batteries.
Right.
For the radios, we can pull it out of there.
Equipment for the new truck.
New truck.
If eventually we get that.
Yeah, so.
Okay. All right. Questions? Thank you, Jeff.
You're welcome.
Only this. This year only. Before we leave budget, let me do like this. So, based on the numbers that came in for doing the Christmas, the holiday celebration, where they were at 8650 when they came in here to provide their budget, they're looking at, they need to go to 8850 for celebration. So just supplement this sheet for the one that you have in celebration.
What changed?
So, the number for the,
The holiday celebration.
holiday celebration went up $200. And so, and again, that's based on what people are charging them this year.
Yeah, now I see the box.
Yeah. So that's what the change was. She just wanted me to hand this out to you guys. If you have questions, you know, we can bring her back in, but I want to make sure that you have that. All right. Next up, let's do the town ordinance right-hand turn on co-ed, because there will be some scheduling issues here. This is an issue that came up before the planning board, and the town planner, Glenn Greenwood, indicated that it's actually not in the town planning regs, it's actually in the town ordinance public safety side, which falls under this body, not planning. And so the suggestion was made to make a change to the town ordinance which requires one of two things, either a warrant article or how we've traditionally done it is 3 public hearings and then a vote of this board would allow a change in ordinance.
I'm sorry, can you give me a little more backstory?
Sure.
Sure, what you're talking about.
Oh, so I was getting into the talking process, but let's talk about the ordinance specifically. So currently there is an ordinance, do you have the language for the ordinance?
It's 404,
So it's a very simple one. It shall be unlawful for any vehicle to make a right turn from the following ways: from access way of 27 Pleasant Street, co-ed T-shirts, onto Pleasant Street. So technically, any automobile coming out of there is prohibited from making a right turn. Now, when they were doing this, and the discussion of the planning board was around the fact that the purpose of this is really preventing the trucks from making a right turn, which I think we all agree, it gets very hairy, having them not only make that turn, just because of the way that corner is, and Tom, I'm sure Tom can talk about this, but also the fact that we don't want trucks going down Pleasant Street. And so the idea was, it's probably not necessary for the automobiles, and probably inconvenient to have automobiles not make that turn, but that we maintain the language to have trucks prohibited from making a right turn. It's currently posted no trucks with a right turn slash through it, implying almost all vehicles. Obviously, we'd probably change the signage if we change the ordinance. So what we need to do, if we want to do this, is to hold 3 public hearings. My guess is they won't be very long. And then we can do a vote of the select board to change the ordinance. Otherwise, it would have to go to March, put a warrant article on there, maybe longer and more drawn out. I would suggest that, over the next 3 meetings, we can have out of the gate public hearing and then go into our regular business. But I wanted to raise this with you guys, see what your thoughts are about that as a process to get this done. And then before we get into it, Tom, do you want to say anything about this, since it's your house that's right there on the corner?
I seem to be the spokesperson for the street, yes. Yeah, thank you. And it really comes down to just a point of clarification versus the signage that's there. You addressed it well. We don't necessarily have a tremendous amount of issues with the cars, the passenger vehicles that make the right thing turn. But we have had some serious issues with trucks that have done that. They did damage a little corner of some paving that I think the town put in at one point. So they did damage that a couple years ago. Also, too, if they do make that right turn, there's nothing to prohibit my neighbors across the street and myself from parking on the street. And if we were to happen to be parked on the street like we can, a truck would clearly hit our vehicle. So there's that issue. And so really it's a point of clarification, and like I said too, not to speak for the chief and his agency, but it's a part of enforcement where I think we can understand what maybe the spirit of this ordinance was, but the letter reads differently. So if the spirit is certainly to prevent trucks, it's not the way it's written.
Right.
So I just think it should be cleared up because it's a matter of safety for that street. So there's really not much more to that. As far as any signage that's over there, I should point out too that I try to maintain those hedges that are technically on the property of Home Fashions. They actually own that road. And I try to maintain those so that the sign is visible. But, there comes a time if we're going to change the signage. I had spoken with Brian before about see if we could move the signs where perhaps on the left side, the trucks can clearly see them and know that they cannot make that right turn.
Maybe no problem. Well, if you guys are okay with this, then what we'll do is put public hearing on for the beginning of the next 3 meetings, specifically to address this issue. Everybody will be notified. They can come in, speak to it. Don't expect there'll be a lot of people coming. And then presuming that at the next first hearing, we'll have the specific language to discuss. That will be the the point of discussion for the public hearings, and then we'll presumably take a vote at the end of the third hearing.
Do you have are you thinking to change the language so it just is for commercial vehicles or trucks, or, I guess I don't understand how the,
We have two different ordinances. We have a no trucking ordinance, which someone should technically is no trucking, but there's 3 stipulations or exceptions to that. It's not ordinances, local deliveries. And it falls under that, no trucking. So, but this particular ordinance here would be, just to clarify, it's changing all vehicles to, you can put commercial vehicles or, you know.
I just, how would changing the ordinance change any behavior if the ordinance is already more global? You know, like, so if we change the ordinance to no commercial trucks, but they're clearly not following that ordinance right now, like what would be the purpose of?
Well, the purpose, I think, is one, technically, they're required to enforce an ordinance that is probably not something we want them to enforce, which is everybody leaving co-ed to go home at night, technically they should be cited. So it gets rid of their responsibility for enforcement, which is probably a good thing in this case. As to the issue of the trucking, I think that then boils down to, we make the change, and as Tom mentioned, I think, do we then go and look at changing the signage just so it's very clear for the trucks, more clear than it is now, you are prohibited from making the right turn here. So the ordinance doesn't address the second part, but the ordinance does address their responsibility to enforce.
Okay. So they're kind of 2 separate issues almost.
Yeah, the trucks, it's still going to be with the trucking over and turn. You still have the trucks at Asia and down Pleasant Street from Main Street and stuff like that. That's still going to be enforced. It's just, if this ordinance is on the books, it's either we enforce it or we decide that it's.
We fix it, or remove it.
Fix it and remove it from where it is rated.
Oh, of course not.
Yeah, I apologize, just to put it in line with that other no through trucking, there's 2, and it does specifically say that there are no trucks to take that right turn. So we get very specific in the other ordinances that address this, but then that one is, to your point, I thought that was an excellent point, that, it is more global, but I think that it is, as I said, the spirit of it. But also, too, there's an awful lot of good work that comes out of there, and I think you might have raised it at the planning board, was on Memorial Day, all those vehicles would be in violation.
That's what I was
The entire Memorial Day parade was cited. If we find them all $50, we can find them for gratitude.
There's your celebration.
Exactly. So then, Keisha, can you make sure that for each of the next 3 select board meetings, we post as a public hearing for the right turn ordinance for Pleasant Street? Okay. Great. Thank you, guys. Appreciate it. All right. Now the fun stuff. Let's do the town assessor contract for 2023. So this is for the annual assessing services. See if they're ready. The contract that we reviewed before was for the revaluation. This is for the regular annual assessment services. He's proposing $16,800. Now, looking at last year's budget, our assessing budget reval was, it says $20,600, but I don't think that's what his contract number was. Let me suggest, because I think, did we just get this contract? We had the other one before.
Yeah, we just got this one.
Okay. Let me suggest that we defer this, because I certainly have questions about what we paid last year.
I remember that.
And I'd like to read through it anyways. I hate to rush that. So we all have a copy. Let's defer this until next meeting if you guys don't mind. Great. Okay, good. All right. There's a municipal association membership dues, which we need to approve. As you guys can probably know, the Municipal Association is just a resource for towns, town officers, clerks, a variety of things. They provide information on a variety of issues. You can call them as members of the select board if you're looking for help on an issue. We've been a member for some time. Their dues this year is $18.70. It was $17.75 last year, so they're going up by about $100, which is a little more than 5%, 6%. Questions? No?
No.
I'll move to approve the Municipal Association dues for 2023.
I'll second.
Second by Jackie, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you for that. Okay, tax time, tax rate. So Sue sent us a memo from last Friday outlining what is coming up for the tax rate. As it's currently constituted, our tax rate will come in at $3.82 for the municipal portion. That's the portion that we have an effect on. It was $3.66 last year. That's about a 4.4% increase year over year. As she noted, for every approximately $30,600, we would reduce the rate by 10 cents. You can see here that the overall, when you add in county, school, and the state educational portions, we go from last year at 2055 to 2096. That's about a 2% increase on the overall rate. What we need to do tonight is to make a determination of whether we are going to use any of the unassigned fund balance to adjust that 382 or not. So I will open it up for discussion or questions.
What's the balance in the account there?
Our balance is approximately $1,033,000 currently.
And how, I know last year we were pretty close to that threshold, 17?
17%, yeah.
So are we,
No, I think we were around 14% last year, if I remember correct, 14, 15%. So we're certainly at the upper end. You're
I feel
absolutely
like we
right.
were almost at 17, we brought it down.
No, I think we've been hovering around 14% the last couple of years.
Is 17 the cap? for the
17% is the cap mandated by the state. The minimum is 5%. And we were down around 7% or so, I want to say, about 7 or 8 years ago. We've been able to keep the tax rate going up about 1 or 2% a year, 2.5% a year, while building that unassigned fund balance, which, you know, it's kind of like a rainy day fund, but not really. It certainly allows us to keep the tax rate, you know, mitigate any big spikes in tax rates, which is what we want to try to do. So, so right now, yeah, we're at $1 million. Our overall spending being about $6.5 million of collections. So we're probably around 15%, maybe a little under 15% now, depending on the amount that goes up on the other lines. So, you know, we're in that 14, 15% range. Questions, suggestions? I mean, I'll throw something out if somebody, if nobody wants to.
And this can only be used to reduce the taxes?
Correct. It's used to reduce the tax rate, the unassigned fund balance. Typically, we have used it to offset the credits, like the veterans tax credits, and used it to offset that. I will say this: we will be certainly having a much higher budget this year, and certainly the municipal line, yes, it's going up 4.4%. The overall tax rate is only going up 2%. I would suggest that we don't make any changes or apply anything this year, if only to step into what is likely higher tax rates on the municipal line over the next couple of years. I mean, it's always nice to be able to lower that municipal line, but if we lower it, all it means is that there's going to be larger step-ups in the next couple of years on a percentage basis. I mean, if we're fortunate enough where we can lower it next year, I would love to. And I would rather apply more money next year when we know the rate's going up substantially because of inflation. So that's at least my initial thoughts on it. I don't know if you guys have some comments or questions or differences of opinion.
Do you have a WAG next year, Michael, how much in addition to the increased expenses, what a forecast?
Again, we're just getting the budgets in. I mean, obviously, this was the biggest
Yep.
line item. Roads is the second biggest. I would guess right now that we're probably going to be running over this year something on the order of 6 to 7%. Executive, we haven't gotten yet. That may be, more to the higher end of that. And that's a guesstimate, guys. So don't take that as gospel.
That's a WAG, I understand.
Yeah, it's certainly a guess at this point in time.
How mounted?
And that is on the municipal line only.
Oh,
Okay, I just want to be clear about that. I don't think we've gotten anything from the county, the school, or the state ed as to what the indications are for 2023 on those. And again, they have their own budget processes. That won't come in until later. We'll have a better indication of those probably in the January, February timeframe.
How much does this 30,600 number fluctuate? Per annum? I mean, so like next year could be like 40,000 or 20,000 or 39,000?
I would say year over year, it's approximately that amount. Now, next year may be different just because of the way our budget may be increasing, so you might see a larger number to get the same reduction, just as the math falls out. But it won't be 60,000 to reduce it 10 cents. It'll be, 35 or 40,000 to reduce it 10 cents. Something like that.
With all the financial pinches that everybody's experiencing now, especially our fixed income and our elderly, it makes the projection in what you're offering makes sense, but as long as we can mitigate some of that next year, and people are cognizant of the fact what the logic is behind this.
Mm-hmm. Look, I think next year we're going to probably want to do a larger number, a much larger number, given everything else that's happening. And especially in light of, I certainly expect that county school and state education, since they're those are very labor-intensive lines overall. Our budget, while, there's labor in the police department, and to some extent the fire department, there's not a ton of labor in our budget. And with salary increases most likely going up everywhere, 5%, maybe more, I fully expect that in the education line we're going to see jumps, which means that the more that we can mitigate on the municipal line next December, the more we may be able to keep, what we have is a 2% bottom line this year. Next year it may not be as easy.
Do you see a substantial increase, able to bump the unassigned funds up over the next year? Or is that going to be the amount we get in there? Or how's that going to?
The increase in the unassigned fund balance is really based upon the ability of our department heads to manage their budget and stay under budget, right? Certainly, it's been good in the past. Maybe a little harder over the next year. It may get easier if inflation comes down, if gas prices go lower, if heating oil prices go lower, if, as we're talking about, oil prices drop and we get more mileage for our asphalt, it becomes easier for them to end up with not extending their full budget, and therefore the unassigned fund balance increasing. I would say, to the point Jackie was raising earlier, our unassigned fund balance is at the higher end of the range, which means that, next year, we could technically drop $200,000 out of our unassigned fund balance if we needed to keep our tax rate from exploding.
Well, let me rephrase that question then. So would you expect us to be approximately about the 14% range next year on the unassigned funds?
we will be
basically-
in the same position we are right
That's
now
what I was-
next year, yes.
So if
yeah.
we should,
If we're not spending unassigned fund balance this year, then it will stay in there next year and maybe a little higher next year.
that's what I was saying.
And that's what I was trying to indicate, maybe I didn't explain it well. It just gives us the ability to, if we are facing a huge increase next year at the bottom line or on the municipal line, we can easily utilize a substantial portion of our unassigned fund balance to mitigate what may be a big jump in tax rates.
So at the bottom line, you would expect we'll have at least that amount possibly more
Yes.
to throw against it.
We will have far more than $30,000 to do this next year. We have $1 million there, there will be that $1 million. And like I said, if we wanted to drop 200,000, right? We could do it next year and still have our unassigned fund balance well within the range, on the upper half of the range of this. That's my thoughts on that.
So you're thinking to leave it the way it is now, because if we cut any of the rate and things go up a lot more next year, you're thinking that it would be a bigger
It
jump.
just makes the
and-
step bigger. Yes, exactly. Yep. And like I said, the bottom line on us, fortunately, is only 2%
Yeah.
right now. I guess I'm saying I'd rather have more dry powder to address a very uncertain situation next year. That's all I'm saying.
Communication of this, give this information past them, because I think it's going to be critical that folks are cognizant of it.
Yeah, look, I think the critical issues here are twofold. One is the overall tax rate is going at 2%, right? So when they get to receive their property tax bill, what it is, it's going to be a 2% increase year over year for them. So, and which is more or less the goal here, but we also want to manage the municipal line as much as we can. And the second thing I think to communicate is, look, we know next year's budget is uncertain and maybe a large step up, and we'll have more dry powder to mitigate, certainly on the municipal line for next year, by keeping this at only a 2% bottom line increase, as opposed to, lowering that by a fraction of a percent.
And as tight as 2% is, the way everything else is going up, it might be low. We only went up 2% this year.
Actually, I'm feeling fortunate that it's only 2% this year. I mean, on the muni line, we went up 4.4%. And again, that's, there's factors that go into that, but an overall 2% increase on property taxes, I agree with you. I think we're fortunate. Other questions? Differences of thoughts, concerns?
I just want to make sure that we don't get too high on that fund balance. Because I guess there's so much money in there, and if, the only thing we can do with it is to bring tax rate down, it just, I don't know.
I think next year we will use a good chunk of it. No, I don't want to say good chunk, but we will use it aggressively next year.
Right, but then what happens the year after?
Well, and then I think the answer is, it's trying to just mitigate large steps. And so if we can mitigate, we're not going to erase any increase next year.
Right.
But if the increase on the muni line is, let's say for argument's sake, it's a 7%, and we can lower that no more to like 3%, and then the subsequent years step into moving it back, assuming if inflation starts to mitigate, it becomes easier for us to basically step back in and not have, a big change there. We know it's coming. The whole, and again, fortunately we have plenty of reserve there to address for a year or two. To be honest, we can probably address 3 years of this. I just want to use it when it's we really need to, and then we can use it to basically do what we did in the past, right, which is keep it 1%, 2% increase. That's the goal. I just think that this year, with the bottom line only at 2%, if that bottom line was going up 5%, I'd say absolutely we should do something this year.
Right.
With it only going at 2%, I just fear next year's number, and I just think keeping as much dry powder is the best way for us to try to mitigate that bottom line for everybody next year.
And that's based on thinking, well, next year will be the end of the rainy day, so to speak, and I don't think that's gonna happen.
It might not be. Look, this may be a multi-year problem, but again, I'd rather have more in there now.
And I agree that.
And anticipation.
Amazon's laying off 10,000, FedEx is laying off, everybody's starting to lay off. The financial wizards are saying there's a recession coming. It seems more prudent to have the resources in your pocket.
I'll make a motion then that we do not use any unreserved, the reserve fund balance to offset the municipal portion of the property tax, leaving it at the 382 as indicated by Sid.
I'll second.
Second by Jackie, all in favor?
Aye.
Great, thank you very much. All right, got a plan on that. All right, we have one prior meeting minute, and we have December meeting dates. You guys want to look at the minutes first, and then we'll do the dates?
Do we have the 29th scheduled?
I thought
November 29th?
No,
I didn't
it
think that we,
was first to the 15th.
yeah, I think we did 1st and 15th, but I think we probably need to do the 29th, unless you guys have issues with the 29th.
I'm good on the 29th.
Okay. Well, let's do this.
Yes,
schedule.
stick with it.
So let's put November 29th. And then, I know you said you had a problem with the 6th,
And the 13th, yeah. I can do the 7th.
or the 14th.
Well, no, I'm 13, I'm gone.
Oh, you're gone, so could we do the 7th or the 12th? Are you good for the 7th or the 12th? I mean, the 7th is immediately following the 29th. Are you good for the 12th?
Jackie, does that work for you?
It's a Monday.
Yeah, that's what I'm going through the kids' schedule.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
I think, yeah, that should be okay.
All right, let's go for the Monday, December 12th then as well. And again, we'll have public hearings before both of those. And then for the end of the month, maybe we play it by ear as to whether we need something. I know that's gonna get complicated with the holidays. Maybe we do something the week of the 19th, but we can make that call either on the 7th or the 12th. I mean, on the 29th or the 12th. I'll suggest that we leave that open for now. Is that all right with you guys?
Thank you.
All right, great. So the 29th and the 12th, Keisha? Great, thank you. All right.
Can we talk about the fire department's budget for a minute?
Sure.
I'm just looking back at the minutes. We were thinking, their fire department is expecting that we would use ARPA funds for the 2022 payroll. At what point do we make a decision on that and either?
So I put a call into DRA for clarification. You know, the ARPA funds were off budget because they were unanticipated revenues this year. I'm not sure that we can do that for 2023. So I can't answer that right now. I'm hopeful, they haven't called me back yet. I'm back in the office tomorrow, so I'm going to call again. I think it's important we get clarification before we make any determination on that as to how we have to, what kind of flexibility we have with those with respect to budgeting.
Right.
I don't know that we can do it this year because they're no longer on anticipated revenue. I mean, for the most part, they're kind of like on fund balance at this point. So, as soon as
Because I
I,
was looking back through and it looked like we're not able to use the ARPA funds for these kinds of payroll.
this year, it's not that we can't do this program, but it wouldn't be off budget. So I'm trying to get an answer to that. So it's a great question, but I don't have a response yet from it.
No, thank you for calling me.
Oh, along the lines too, we just received the contract back from Derek for Elm. I wasn't in the office today, so I'll forward Derek's comments back around. He said they were minor, not too substantial, so, but I'll get that around to you tomorrow when I'm back in the office. I've been out for the last 2 days.
Is Brian been able to get up to Holy? I meant to ask, I forgot to ask him when he was here. Patch those holes.
Yeah, he's indicated that, you know, they frequently go up there and check it and do coal patches when necessary. I have no idea when the last time he's been out there. But feel free to reach out to him.
So for the skating rink.
Yep.
Where are we going to do this in the budget? Do we need to do some grading and loam and seeding? Where is that gonna come from?
I don't think it's gonna cost anything to get done. The loam itself, John Hagan's gonna donate. He's also said that he can donate the equipment.
Okay.
So I don't think it'll cost anything to get that grading done. And then for the lighting, you know, as indicated in here, the chief said, you know, that be able to use the emergency lighting. One thing that I think we're going to try to do is raise funds from the Newfields Community Fund to get lights up on the tower there, so we don't have to haul the equipment back and forth, and just have lighting up there to be able to, you know, we can probably put it on a timer for like Friday nights between 5 and 7 or something like that. I'm meeting with somebody tomorrow to talk about what the potential is there, how much it might cost. If we can raise the funds, great. If we can't, we'll continue to use the emergency lighting.
So you're thinking, you mean you want to raise funds to get a new light tower for there?
Not a light tower, lights that can be mounted on the telephone pole that's right over the field.
Okay.
So, and then obviously with some kind of a you know, on-off switch or connection. What's that?
Can we do that?
I'm going to talk to somebody tomorrow about
Okay.
how it might get done.
But legally, we can use like a telephone pole?
Yeah, we have to talk to Eversource, stay on the pole, and get their approvals. But again, it's more figuring out, if we were to do this, how much would it cost? If it's $20,000, it's just no.
Right.
But, you know, if it's like, you know, $5,000, then the community fund will go out and raise the money for that, to do it as so the town doesn't have to, and then, and be able to get it installed so that, again, and we don't have to haul equipment every weekend if the skating rink is up, but we'll get more information on that shortly. Any questions, edits, comments for the minutes? Or I will move the minutes as written for Tuesday, November 1st, 2022. Second by Hobie, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye? Great. Minutes got done. Assessor plan, I think we're done.
Postpone our workers till next.
Yeah, I think that needs to become a general discussion of the budget, which will be coming up after we get the executive numbers.
Anything more, Andy?
I haven't heard anything.
What's that supposed to be?
I don't know. I don't even think Derek knows. He probably checked with the sheriff's department. I'll ask him. I'll move to adjourn. Second by Hobie. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Great. Thank you, guys.
Good night, everybody.
Thank you, Jackie. Have a good night.
Careful with this.
So I'm giving you this back.
Oh, yes.
The rest of
Okay.
the checks and invoices. All right. 816, not bad, especially with 3 budgets.
Sue doing good?
She is, I think she's coming in tomorrow, so.
You better be.
You can be sick after work.
What's that?
You can be sick after work.
Yeah.